is a pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of ICICI Securities to Tata Coffee's Q4 and FY20 earnings conference call. We have with us today from the management Mr. Chacko Thomas, MD and CEO, and Mr. K. Venkatramanan, ED Finance and CFO. Thank you, and over to you, sirs, for your opening comments.
Thank you, Vismay. Good morning, everyone. This is Chacko Thomas here, and we'd like to thank all the analysts who are on the call. At the very outset, I wanted to mention that, as per government advisory on COVID-19, we had suspended our operations, but have since resumed the same with the units operating, though at lower capacities, but following all statutory norms and guidelines issued by the government. As far as our Vietnam factory is concerned, it is actually operating normally without any interruptions based on the government requirements there. There has been some impact on our operations due to COVID-19 on our Q4 results, but mostly on our Indian operations, and even as we are closely assessing the impact for 2021. I would now move forward to comment on the overall performance of the company, along with some observations on the trends of coffee terminals in the pre and post COVID-19 scenario. Firstly, I'm very happy to report that in financial year 20, the company at a standalone as well as at a consolidated level has delivered a steady performance. On the standalone results, the total income for financial year 20 is higher at 776 crores compared to 757 crores in the previous year. The standalone PAT stands higher at 73 crores compared to 71.6 crores of the previous year. Going on to the markets, Arabica coffee terminals were volatile for most part of the year, and both Arabica and Robusta fell during the course of the year to multi-year lows. However, in March 20, the prices of Arabica spiked up, albeit for a short period of time, due to the sudden increase in spot demand on account of anticipated supply chain disruptions owing to COVID-19. The terminals for the quarter, in particular, have been varying from 129.95 cents per pound to around 117.35 cents per pound as on 1st of April 2020. The London coffee terminals for Robusta have also been dynamic and have witnessed lows in Q4 from $13.82 per metric ton to going down to $12.04 per metric ton. And while the market experienced stress on prices, we have been able to realize better returns for our coffee by improving our operational efficiencies and continuing to drive our premiumization and disintermediation efforts. Meanwhile, pepper prices have also remained stagnant in the last quarter since export was suspended as a preventive measure on account of the pandemic. Coffee harvesting work has been completed and is now being followed by post-harvest work. We resumed our pepper harvest in the middle of April after a brief lockdown and halt of operations in the estates. The crop for the season was also affected due to some weather vagaries that we witnessed in course of the year, and which was also followed by some unprecedented rains in December. This resulted in some delay in crop ripening for both coffee and pepper. The drop in crop has surely affected the profitability in Q4 to some extent, but our focus efforts towards driving significant cost control and cost optimization projects across the company have also resulted in substantial savings for the financial year. As far as our instant coffee operations both in India and Vietnam are concerned, I am pleased to report that our instant coffee India business continues to perform well with both our plants at Teni and Tupran, which ran during the past season at almost peak capacities. Good sales performance was seen across all geographies continue to have a very healthy order book in the coming quarters, despite all the challenges and uncertainties that we see around COVID-19. The operations in our Vietnam soluble coffee plant continue to show good quarter-on-quarter performance, both in terms of production and sales. In Vietnam, the COVID-19 spread was addressed with stringent preventive measures, and hence we did not pause and eventually operated nearly at full capacities towards the end of the year. A very robust sales pipeline is underway, and our key customers have continued to evince interest in our products. On the consolidated results, aided by a steady standalone performance in the financial year 20, our consolidated results have also shown marked improvement, with our US subsidiary 8 O'Clock Coffee registering a good performance on account of increased profits due to higher volumes. Consolidated total income went up 9% vis-a-vis previous year, from 1987 crores to compared to 1822 crores of the previous year. Consolidated profit after tax significantly higher at 141 crores compared to 107 crores in the previous year. To summarize, I'd just like to mention that by operating through the lens of volume growth, cost and operational efficiencies, and a fairly good performance across all geographies, we've been able to deliver a stable financial performance for the year, despite the extraordinary challenges that were faced by the business at large. We continue to constantly navigate and evolve in the changing environment by focusing on ensuring smooth operations in all our units, as well as continue to focus on cost control initiatives all across. Finally, I'd like to hand over the call to my colleague Venkat, who will take you through the financial performance for the year.
Thanks, Chaco. Morning to all. So, as Chaco had said, while the standalone Q4 results are impacted primarily due to two major reasons. One is there has been a sequential crop drop, especially in Arabica, all the three, in fact, Arabica, Robusta, and pepper. And tea also was impacted due to the infestation of tea mosquito bug. As a result of which and also there were, not to forget, the COVID impact in the last few days, maybe for 10-12 days, due to which some of the shipments had to be postponed, as the logistics and operations both in surface and in port were impacted. So the standalone turnover is at 181 crores for the quarter against 212 of previous year, but the overall for the year has improved from 757 to 775. And profit before exceptionals for the quarter is impacted, but overall we are marginally down compared to previous year. And we have taken advantage of a lower tax rate as per the 115 BAA tax ordinance, and so profit for the year is ahead of the previous year at 7321 lakhs compared to 7158. And the EPS is also higher for the whole year at 3.92 compared to 3.83. Coming to the consolidated, 8 O'Clock, two major highlights. One is TCGCL, Tata Coffee Vietnam went on stream, in terms of commercial production somewhere around from the May 2019. So, and the capacities have been sort of getting ramped up month on month. So, something to mention is that these are all, made to order kind of, with key customers, which takes time. There is a lead time in terms of approval of samples, etc. So the overall capacities have been improving month on month. They are EBITDA and EBIT positive, sequentially for last few quarters, last 2 to 3 quarters. And 8 O'Clock has had a very good year. There has been improvement both in the Q4 and for the whole year. The total income is at 1987 crores compared to 1822, up by around 9%. And the consolidated profit after tax has gone up by 32%, 141 crores as against 107 crores. There has been some phasing of A&P expenses in 8 O'Clock especially. And the EPS is at 4.41 compared to 3.68. So these are the major highlights of the financial results, and the dividend, not to forget, dividend has been maintained at 1.50 per share, is 150%. So with this, I conclude. I leave the floor to open to questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star followed by one on your touchtone phone now. We have a first question from the line of Jayant Damania from Qtr4 PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Congratulations for a good set of numbers.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. Sir, as compared to Q4 2019, our standalone sales is down by 34 crore, and whereas the consolidated sales is up by 56 crore. So total 8 o'clock and Vietnam sales have contributed 90 crores additional revenue in Q4. So can you give us a bifurcation between Vietnam sales and the 8 o'clock sales?
You are asking for Q4 alone?
Yeah, Q4 one, yeah.
The 8 o'clock will be a larger number for Q4. So, in just a second. As far as 8 o'clock is concerned, in rupee terms, the Q4 is up by Q4 net sales with this more or less for Q4 is up by around 14. It's about 35 crores in UOC, and TCVCL any case is about around 50 crores.
Vietnam sales is 50 crores?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the volume growth in 8 o'clock?
So 8 o'clock overall volume growth, the Q4 has registered the volume growth in all the three, branded bags, private label, and K-Cups. And overall for the year, bags are more or less flat, marginal improvement, whereas private label and K-Cups again, almost flat, and private label has grown.
Okay. So what will be the contribution of private label in 8 o'clock?
So, well, volume-wise, you want volume or?
No. Percentage share in total sales.
Percentage sale in total, it will be roughly about 10 to 15%.
Okay, yeah. Sir, in segment-wise sales, we show 8 o'clock under value-added sales. So why don't we show that as a branded sale as shown in the Tata Consumer Products? Because Tata Consumer Products shows branded coffee sales and non-branded actually. Why we don't show that 8 o'clock under branded sales?
We are showing it as a value-added. See, for us, we have a segment is both instant coffee as well as 8 o'clock. So the entire that group goes under the instant coffee in the value-added business.
Okay. So what will be the operating margin in 8 o'clock?
Operating margin, EBIT margin should be in the region of around 20-odd%.
Okay. Sir, what is the assessment about the global coffee production and the probable pricing trend in the current year?
Yeah, so it's a good question. At this point in time, I think the harvest of Brazilian crop is expected to commence. Now, obviously, there is a COVID scare everywhere. Notwithstanding that, the Brazilian crop is expected to be a good crop for the year. So the prices, considering the increased consumption that we have seen and drawdown on some of the stocks which people have been holding or buying, prices is expected to remain steady unless obviously if there is a sudden issue with the Brazilian crop, which, for example, COVID says that, COVID-19 in Brazil says that, you're unable to pluck that or pick that particular crop, which is unlikely. But if that happens, then there could be a sudden spike, major spike. But largely, I would say the prices should remain steady.
So in Plantations business, we have incurred a loss of 17 crore in this quarter. So whether we will be better off in coming quarters?
We expect it to be, because last year, now what has happened is because of the physiological phenomenon in terms of the ripening of the fruit, etc., there has been some impact. Plus, additionally, pepper also got impacted, though not so much. And one should also remember that tea had an unusual impact of the tea mosquito bite. So all these put together, there has been some impact. And of course, somehow one more thing to remember is that because of COVID, last few weeks the shipments could not happen especially of the coffee, the green beans. So that has also pulled back the sales and the margin. So we of course value them, but then obviously the sales margins would be better. So that has not been fully captured.
Okay. Sir, last question. Recently, we have launched coffee sonnets in Indian market through our online platform. So, anything about that?
So, primarily, it's been received very well in terms of both quality and the packaging, as well as the kind of product it is. Unfortunately, it went in immediately. It was followed by the COVID, issue, where obviously, e-commerce by way of, being able to deliver the sonnets at the customer was affected. So we are hoping that once the courier services and the e-commerce the logistics chain is restarted, we should be able to ramp up this sonnets. Early days, but definitely the feedback that we have received is that the coffee is excellent and packaging is also excellent.
No, one thing I did not understood, Tata Coffee brand we have launched under through Tata Consumer, and this we have launched directly through online platform. So why that differentiation?
So Tata Coffee is a R&G, the instant coffee side of the story, and it's more for the retail. Groceries and all that.
And also, I think what we are doing here is actually single estate, not a blend of different types of coffee, which is what Tata Coffee brand is. Here it is telling the story of very specifically a particular estate, a particular type of coffee. The expertise lies here, and obviously, the quantum that you can, it's again a limited edition kind of coffee. There's not, massive amounts of coffee available under these specific estates. So that's the difference. So that's why we decided that we would do it from Tata Coffee, and it would make much more sense.
Yeah, but is it?
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you like to come back in the queue?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, participants will press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Anup Ramachandra from AP Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi. Congratulations on the reasonable good set of numbers and consolidated PL accounts. My question is with respect to the plantation business. I note that in the last year that we suffered a loss. Considering going forward, what is the company's outlook with respect to the plantation business?
Yeah, so let me answer that. I mean, I think we must remember that there is always a cyclicality in terms of prices as far as any commodity is concerned. So yes, that's one aspect which is always weighed on how the plantation would fare. So in the event if one were to leave the plantations as is basis, it would continue to be a drag. However, what we have done in the last 4 or 5 years, we have been consistently replanting some of the old areas, thereby increasing the yield from each of these plantations, whether it is Arabica or Robusta. You must remember that replanting would take any biological asset would take a certain number of years for it to economically yield. Fortunately for us, it also the replanting has been carried out in the last 4, 5, 6 years now. So a large number of these areas are actually coming up for maturity. That's one. The second part of it is, of course, there were weather-related events which unfortunately happened in the last couple of years. Largely something which one could not control. So if you were to see the barometer is how we have performed against, say, the rest of the industry. We've been consistently higher because we have actually invested substantially in water holding capacities. We have continued to do all the agricultural operations which are required to ensure the sustainability of the asset. So when you look at all these factors, when you look at a normal situation with the weather, I think the outlook for plantations is quite positive. We also see that we were looking forward. We will also be trying to see whether there is a possibility of actually growing alternate crops along with the plantations in question, thereby increasing the profitability of the plantations. A lot of work has already gone in. Obviously, I mean, these are pilot plants which we are running in order to really gauge the overall suitability of some of these crops. So overall, I'm quite positive about the performance of plantations going forward.
Okay. The thing is, see, the two factors so far, from your comments, I noticed it. One is the climate change, and other one is the commodity prices. So I just want to know for how much of the produce that we produce from the plantation is going, since we have an integrated business, since we grow and we also do the instant coffee, how much of it that we grow is going to our own instant coffee plant?
No, actually none, because the kind of realization premiums what we get on own coffee is much better. So we don't use any of our own grown coffees for the plant for the instant coffee business. And of course, we are the sole suppliers to Starbucks. So those are completely supplied from our own plantations. Other than that, we don't use any of the beans for the instant coffee business, unless it is under some exceptional circumstances.
Okay. And as far as assets are concerned in plantation, how many acres is actually owned by Tata Coffee?
Everything is owned by Tata. It's all freehold land, except maybe one estate which is on some long-term lease. That's a tea estate. Others are all owned by, it's all freehold land by Tata Coffee.
Number wise?
In terms of acreage, you want?
Yeah.
About 10,000 acres in just a second. Last page. So the bearing area will in the region of around it's about 6,000 plus 4. It's around, as I said, around 10,000 10,000 hectares of bearing area.
So it's 10,000 hectares as in some around 22,000 acres?
Yeah, correct. You are absolutely 22,500 acres.
Okay. And how much of that value is captured in the balance sheet as a value?
No, it is not captured in any, see, the way it works is that, these are all being planted many years back. So whatever is the replanting cost in those years.
I'm asking as for the land value.
Land value, nothing is captured.
again, you would not value anything of the land in the balance sheet?
No, as I said, you see, these are all the land have been acquired many decades back, by predecessor companies and all that. So it is not captured except to the extent of some one or two estates would have been bought and those would have been brought into books as land value. Otherwise, these lands are all, this company actually, is almost about 100 years old.
Oh, okay. And is there any, this is my last question, is there any plan to avoid being exposed to the commodity prices? Is there any plan to move to B2C segment?
No, there is no plan. There is no plan to move to B2C segment. That is completely, with the Tata Consumer Products Limited. So that's the way, because they have a strong retail focus. So that's how it is. Strong, consumer and retail focus. That's how it is.
So our focus actually has been on premiumizing and disintermediating our product. So moving from the plain vanilla kind of coffee into actually being premium coffee. So that's our strategy.
Okay. And the last recommendation, since most of our revenues are coming from consolidated, as in the majority of it is coming from consolidated coffee, I would like to have some kind of narration as to what are the plans with consolidated coffee in our annual reports also.
What are the plans? Can you repeat the question? I didn't understand.
See, most of our revenue are coming from our subsidiary consolidated coffee, right? The majority of it.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, you're saying. Okay, fine.
Correct. 8 o'clock. But if you look into Tata Coffee's narrative, in our annual report, I hardly see any narrative as far as the consolidated coffee is concerned.
Yeah, we do give the statute, the kind of director's report and all that, we give information. But obviously, you see, it is 8 o'clock is also 50% is owned by Tata Coffee. 49% is also owned by Tata Consumer Products. So you will find focus as a part of the branded business more on 8 o'clock coffee. So though we also give fair bit of information. For example, last year's annual report, if you see page number.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's it.
My only concern is because the market is looking Tata Coffee as a plantation and B2B business. But in fact, we want 50% of the B2C business in consolidated coffee.
Yes.
That value is not being captured by the market. So I would like to see a bit more narrative on consolidated coffee in our annual report.
Sure. Point noted. Thank you. Point noted.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Vicky and Gopani from Infina Finance. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. I just have one question with regards to 8 o'clock coffee. So for the quarter, there seems to be a reasonably good growth in revenues there. Is it, according to you, just a base effect where there was a weak base in Q4 last year, or has the overall market in US coffee grown well, or can you throw some more color whether there has been any share gain for 8 o'clock, or what has happened, which segments grew, if you could highlight that?
See, I think 8 o'clock gained, we should say by the, higher stocking at the retail, at the retail stores, especially in March. Okay. So while their growth is, they have been growing in a kind of modest manner, in the sense, up to the third quarter. The fourth quarter had an uptick because of the general overstocking and retail sales.
Okay, so you would say the overall market also would have grown by the same extent in this period.
Obviously, because people have been stocking and all that, so there has been an uptick.
Right. Do you anticipate the next year to be a tough year for 8 o'clock, or how do you see things as of now for the coming year?
As of now, we see coffee. One good thing is it's an essential commodity that people consume all over the world. So that way we are not, as of now, of course, the situation, pandemic and all that. So there's a little bit of, we are hesitant to comment too much on that. But obviously, as we see, since coffee is something, essential drink which people have, we are seeing, steady kind of growth should be there as in the past year. So obviously some quarters may be better off, but then it will get probably we have to watch for the remaining quarters.
And what's your view on profitability for the segment for the coming year?
No, we are not giving any guidance as such.
Mm-hmm.
Refrain from giving any specific guidance on the profitability of 8 o'clock or any other businesses at this point of time. Especially now, you are also fully aware of what we are going to do.
Right. Understood. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. To ask a question, participants will press star 1. We have next question from the line of Percy Panthaki from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. My first question is just needed a better understanding as to why is the crop lower in coffee and pepper, and also if this is something to do only at India level, or is it true even across other geographies?
Yeah, so I'll take the second question first. I mean, this is a very particular situation which has happened actually in India. So largely Indian coffee this year has suffered a massive impact in terms of whatever we've seen in the last year or so on the varying types of rainfall and drought that we've been experiencing in South India. So pretty much we are also based out of the same area. So obviously the effect of a prolonged drought in the beginning, and then suddenly with the massive amount of torrential rain which took place during the middle of the year. What happens with this is that the bean development actually gets stunted to a great extent, and the quantum of weight that the bean develops becomes obviously is affected. It's much lesser. One good thing is that we've been definitely much better off in terms of the effect than most of the industry, primarily because of the investments that we have made in the past, in whether it is in rainwater harvesting and ensuring that water is used for irrigation, especially during the dry weather, and also the inputs that we have been regularly giving in. So that's the primary reason. So it's more of weather-related issues.
And this problem continues for another 2-3 quarters as well, in terms of the production not being enough to sort of support good sales growth.
So what happens with coffee is harvested majorly during the end of third quarter and the fourth quarter. So the production is, the coffee harvest is already completed. Now going into the next quarter, obviously the next production will only come in the third quarter. What is important to see is how the weather conditions have been this year. They seem to be much better than last year. There is obviously a fair amount of rain, and the moisture is very much there. But it's a long way to go, so I wouldn't want to comment anything on how.
So since most of this year's crop has already been harvested, would you be able to give some idea on how much has been in your gardens? What is the production decline on a YOY basis?
Well, you see, this coffee follows this off and on years, no? So the 1 year some Arabica will be on, next year's off, like that. So average, if you see, both Arabica and Robusta would probably be remaining almost flat, compared to the previous year. Of course, for pepper, what happened was last year got impacted, but this year is much better than last year.
Okay, so sir, if the production Arabica plus Robusta was more or less flat, how does that explain the decline in sales that you have seen this quarter?
No, this year's crop is different, no. See, if you look at it, the previous year's crop being lower impact sales. This year's crop, it gets valued, so that also declines. And also price factor should not forget.
Okay, understood.
Both are there.
Yeah.
Second question, sir, on Vietnam. In earlier conference calls, we have guided to total annual sales of about 350 to 400 crores.
Yes.
Whereas your quarterly run rate as of now is 50 crores. So you will have to almost double your quarterly run rate before you sort of touch that kind of number for FY21. So does that number seem realistic right now, or would you like to sort of...
Peak capacity, see what is happening is, right now we are quarter on quarter we is going up, that we have not reached the 100% or 95% capacity. So obviously if you look at it for the 5,000 metric ton, we should be doing around 1,700, 1,800 per quarter. We are now only coming closer to that. We are not we have not reached that target so far. Plus the sales also takes a lag effect.
Right. So 5,000 metric tons in FY21 is unlikely to be actually sold?
FY21 we should somewhere come closer to that. But as we said the earlier calls, the 400 crores is somewhere when the full capacities are realized, which will take about 3-4 years time. It's not the first year or second year which we have said that 400 crores would be reached. But that's the potential for the plant. But that's how it is to be understood.
Right. And my last question is on 8 o'clock. We have seen a very good sales growth. How much of that, in your view, is due to the upstocking effect of COVID? If you can throw some light on this, either by quoting some market shares or any other way that you would deem fit.
No, well, it's quite difficult to say for the, maybe compared to previous year would have grown by maybe 5 to 6%. So, but then it's quite, difficult to say, put a, specific kind of number to it, because obviously some of it, we'll have to wait and see as to how the Q1 happens. But roughly with regard to, 10 to 12% growth would be there compared to the previous year for the same quarter.
Okay, so that's it from me. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Bhavesh Chauhan from IDBI Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I want to know how is the demand for instant coffee in the export market currently, given that the situation is there is a lockdown everywhere. But how is the demand, and are you facing any logistical issues in exporting coffee?
Yeah, so as far as what we see in at least in the first quarter, there doesn't seem to be any contraction of demand. The order books are absolutely full. Yes, there are issues around some of the logistical. The things have definitely eased off. But there still are problems in being able to, evacuate entire quantity of, production. This is largely on account of inavailability of, containers at certain places, and also, some of the ports are still not back to working at full capacity. But these are, I think, temporary problems. I don't foresee this to really pan out much longer. But typically, yes, the overall demand looks well maintained.
Okay. And are we benefiting from supply shortages elsewhere? So maybe some supply globally is not coming, and people are looking at India or Indian companies to supply those products.
No, not really. We haven't seen that in the coffee segment, definitely. No. If you're talking about instant coffee, that is.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you, sir. Participants, to ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Viraj Kacharia from Securities Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Just had a few questions on the 8 o'clock coffee. You said in March quarter we saw some bit of stocking by the retailer driving the growth. So how is the trend so far in April been for us? If you can just provide some color on that, that's one.
April is okay. I mean, we are still seeing some uptick, but we'll have to see how it sustains over time. See, the current context of all this pandemic and all, we are not able to we'll have to wait and see as to how each month kind of, unfolds. So far, it looks okay.
Yeah, it'll be unfair to comment something which, we have no idea about.
So that's fair enough. On Vietnam, if it's possible, if you can provide the full year numbers, just like what you gave for 8 o'clock in terms of sales and profitability.
No, sales is roughly about 150 odd crores.
Okay.
The profitability, I don't want to comment, but
it will be a bit positive for the full year as well, right?
EBITDA and EBIT positive for the last 2 to 3 quarters. EBITDA positive for last 3 quarters, EBIT positive for last 2 to 2 quarters too.
Okay, got it. And you said there was some impact of COVID on the India business, the plantation business. So what is the impact of that in Q4?
Q4 will be roughly about 5 to 6 crores because most of it would be rather in terms of turnover, I am saying, because some of the shipments could not be done completed.
Okay, got it. Thank you, that's all for myself.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To ask a question, participants will press star 1. We have next question from the line of Kush Kangal from Qtr4 FY20. Please go ahead.
Hi, my question was on 8 o'clock. So, do you see any impact on the pricing? So, demand probably would not fall significantly or due to COVID. But is there a possibility that some of our premium price products will have to take price cuts or reduce the prices to boost the demand? So
we are not seeing that as of now. Obviously they pricing depends again. They would probably look at the trade or all those things, trade spends and all that. So basically at this point of time, we are not seeing any major impact. Obviously, people maybe it's kind of moving on to lower price brands and all that. But I think 8 o'clock is positioned well to take advantage of that.
Okay. And there was MEIS withdrawal, I feel, on the export side. Was there any impact in Q4 and coming impact for the next year? What would be the impact?
See, actually what happened was the instant coffee was getting a little high. The MEIS benefit rate was around 7%, which got curtailed to 5% in the last quarter. So that impact has been there about 1 crore or so. But obviously going forward this year, the policy says that it will be allowed to continue even up to December till that new scheme ROTCP comes, or it may be even be extended up to March. That's what we are reading from the media.
Okay, at 7%.
No, lower at 5% also. Instant coffee, but the green bean will be at 3%. So that's what we are seeing.
Okay, so there will be an impact on other income.
Yeah, existing rates, for the beginning of the Q4 rates seem to be protected for the 2021. That's what I wanted to clarify. Okay, up to December there was some extra benefit which we got on instant coffee, which is no longer there.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A reminder to participants to ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Jayant Damania from Qtr4 FY20. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Anything on the debt reduction side? We have more than 1,000 crore debt in the consolidated balance sheet.
Yeah, but that's again, some portion is at 8 o'clock coffee, the other is for the Vietnam. And as far as the 8 o'clock is concerned, it's regular, it will keep coming down. So they are the branded business. There's no kind of new debt which is there. These are all original, acquisition debts which are there.
So are we planning to high off tea business or tea plantation business where we are incurring losses? And a substantial portion of our profit goes for payment of interest.
I understand, but we have no such plans, and we have put in a revised strategy to turn around the tea plantation. Obviously, we are doing some, mono pepper and those kinds of, additional revenue streams we are looking at. So we have no such plans of hiving off tea plantation, but we are definitely we are putting a lot of efforts to ensure that kind of turnaround which is there should be there for the plantation.
So is there any non-core asset which we can dispose of and repay part of the loan?
The point is non-core assets are there, some pockets, but we need to see because we'll have to wait and see as to what's the right time, if at all there is. But then, that's very difficult to comment in this, this scenario.
But is there any specific or committed planning to reduce this debt? Because it is impacting our valuation in the market.
So, but the point is, it's getting, these are all at the good rates which what we have, and these are all getting repaid at, the Vietnam will get repaid in the next couple of years. 8 o'clock regularly it happens. So, it's not, the debt equity is not that high for a consolidated entity as such.
Because looking at the cash flow, which is around, say, 120 crores annually, it will take a lot of time to repay. So, if we dispose of any non-core asset, then it can be speeded up.
Different entities. See, for example, 8 o'clock should have non-core. Definitely, 8 o'clock may not have non-core assets. So Vietnam again doesn't have, because Vietnam the debt is on their books. So obviously that we'll have to see. The point is noted. We will.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Last question. Our debtors have gone up from 170 crores to 240 crores by about 70 crores. Any reason for that?
So recently, see, there has been some uptick in the last quarter. So the 8 o'clock would have gone up because of the last quarter's uptick. Then in India also, what has happened is we have made some sales, but some of the sales, the receivables would be spread over 60 days or something. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason.
Sir, our quarterly consolidated profit has gone up from 40 to 47 crore despite 17 crore loss from the plantation business. So if you add those 17 crores to 47 crores, it amounts to 74 crores. So almost rise of around 75%. So is it sustainable?
See, as I said, Q4 the quarter on quarter is difficult to look at, kind of business. If you look at the standalone, India business, the crop is coming only from, September to March or something. So obviously, for the first couple of months are all harvesting, sort of the cultivation and all that, the activities. So that's the reason the 8 o'clock is concerned. Q4 has been good, but whether if you ask me whether Q4 the Q1 again will be continuing to be good, that we'll have to wait and see.
Sir, I see last 3 quarters have contributed a lot by 8 o'clock in terms of profitability.
Yes, 8 o'clock is doing very well.
Yeah. So what is contributing to that additional profitability?
No, the one is, of course, the strategy itself in terms of, how they focus, that has changed. That has somewhat, sharpened. Then if they also, kind of the facing of the trade and consumer promote that they do effectively. And also they have been, very, kind of focused on cost. So that's also a factor which is helping them.
Sir, last year we have introduced 2 new brands, that Flavors of America and Barista blends. So did that contribute to the top line growth?
I think they have a pipeline of newer launches. So all of them have contributed. In that sense. So I won't have specific numbers on those.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question, and I'd like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, everyone, for having been on the call. We will catch up with you all again next quarter. Thank you. Thank you very much.